They are all going broke. The MIT 2025 study on generative AI projects found this: 95% of them fail to deliver meaningful business impact. 95%. AI companions, virtual influencers, generative art apps. Everyone's chasing the sexy ideas. And they're all going broke. Meanwhile, there's a guy pulling in $15,000 per month with an AI tool that audits compliance documents. Compliance documents. Could anything sound more boring? For those of you who are new here, hi, I'm Fariha, a doctor who quit medicine to build a tech startup, and I'm building it completely in public, sharing everything along the way. And here's the pattern I discovered. The duller your idea sounds, the more money it actually makes. And I'm going to prove it to you. I have a list of 5 profitable AI-based SaaS ideas. Not the ones that get TechCrunch articles. The ones actually generating $10,000 to $50,000 monthly. Every single one solves a boring problem. The MVP can be built with no-code tools. Each has the potential to hit $10,000 a month. And they don't cost a thing, at least until you've validated the prototype. Plus, they actually solve real problems people deal with every day. Let's prove it. First, boring idea, an AI-powered niche content writer. And I mean niche. We're talking environmental consulting reports, legal case summaries, technical documentation for industrial equipment manufacturers, stuff that makes you fall asleep just thinking about it. But here's why boring wins here. I call this the obscurity premium. When a market is too boring for most founders to even consider, you get two massive advantages: zero competition and premium pricing. Think about it. There are 10,000 AI blog post generators. They all charge $29 per month. They're in a race to the bottom. But how many AI tools write environmental impact assessments? Maybe 3. And they can charge $199 per month because legal and consulting firms don't care about price. They care about time. A legal partner billing $450 per hour doesn't want to spend 3 hours writing a case summary. They want it done in 10 minutes. That's the boring gold mine. Here's how you build it with no code. Bubble for your interface. GPT-4's API for the AI engine. But here's the secret. Your moat isn't the AI. Your moat is understanding the boring industry. You create prompt templates filled with legal terminology, compliance checklists, industry-specific frameworks, stuff that's so boring to research that nobody else will do it. That boredom is your competitive advantage. Build the MVP in 2 weeks. Find 5 lawyers or consultants in your target boring niche. Charge $29 per month to start. If building your MVP seems like the hardest task on the planet, my last video will help you do that. It's a walkthrough of building a simple app on Bubble. I have linked it on the upper right corner. It'll save you weeks of trial and error. Scale the pricing as you add more boring industry-specific features. $199 per month is totally achievable. Why does this work? Because while everyone's building horizontal tools for everyone, you're going deep into a vertical nobody thinks is sexy. And that vertical is where the money sleeps. Which brings me to the most boring idea on this entire list, and it's also the most profitable. The AI compliance and document analysis tool. This is it, the Mount Everest of boring. Compliance documents, regulatory audits, risk assessments. Your eyes are glazing over right now. But here's why this is the best idea on the entire list. I call this the necessity tax. When something is boring and mandatory, customers have infinite willingness to pay. Let me prove it. A meditation app is exciting, but it's optional. Hard sell. A compliance tool for a healthcare company? That's mandatory. They must be compliant or they get shut down. This changes everything about your business. You're not convincing them they have a problem. The government already did that for you. You're not competing on features. You're competing on how fast you can solve their mandatory boring problem. And here's the kicker. The more boring and complex the compliance, the more they'll pay. Because nobody else wants to build it. And those companies will pay $299 to $999 per month without blinking. How do you build this with no code? Glide for the dashboard, AWS Textract or similar for document parsing. GPT-4 with compliance-specific prompts. You create a simple interface showing compliance scores, red, yellow, green indicators, list of gaps and risks. The interface itself is boring, but that boring interface prevents $1 million fines. That's the value. Start with one boring compliance framework. Get 5 beta customers. Charge $299 per month minimum. And here's what happens. Your churn is almost zero. Because once they've integrated you into their compliance workflow, switching is a nightmare. They're locked in. That's the beauty of boring infrastructure plays. Low churn, high lifetime value, predictable revenue, the holy trinity. The AI customer service assistant, customer support tickets. Could anything be more boring? Have you tried restarting it? Let me check your account. I'll escalate this to my supervisor. Same questions, every single day. But here's the genius of boring. I call this the daily grind multiplier. The most boring tasks are the ones people do most frequently. And frequency equals value. Think about it. A flashy AI art generator? Maybe I use it once a week for fun. An AI support assistant? A customer service agent uses it 50 times per day. Every single ticket, every single shift. That's not occasional usage. That's infrastructure. And here's why this boring idea prints money. You're not replacing the agent. That's threatening. People resist it. You're making their boring job less boring. You're the co-pilot, suggesting perfect responses. The boring angle is the sell. Your team won't have to answer the same boring questions 100 times a day anymore. Everyone wants that. How do you build this with no code? VoiceFlow or Landbot for the chatbot engine. GPT-4 for response generation. A simple Chrome extension or Slack integration. The interface is deliberately boring, clean, simple. Just a suggestion box. Because support agents don't want flashy. They want fast. Now, if you're more data-minded, the fourth boring idea might be your perfect fit. Because it takes the most boring part of running a business and automates it. So tell me in the comments, would you actually build something like this? Or are you still chasing the flashy AI-based startup ideas that everybody's hyped about? Number 4, the AI Business Data Analytics Platform. Spreadsheets, dashboards, reports. The stuff that makes founders want to cry. Everyone says be data-driven. Nobody wants to actually look at the data. I call this the decision paralysis tax. Executives will pay premium prices for you to do the monotonous data work they don't want to do. Let me explain. Most companies have tons of data. Google Analytics, CRM exports, financial reports, ad platform data. But nobody wants to analyze it. It's tedious. It's time-consuming. It requires focus on boring numbers. So what happens? Decision paralysis. That's your opportunity. You build an AI that ingests their tedious data, does the hectic analysis, and tells them exactly what to do. Not, here's a graph for you to interpret, but stop spending on this ad campaign. It's losing money. Shift budget to this one instead. Specific, actionable, boring but valuable. And here's the pattern. The most necessary tasks get automated first, because people will pay the most to avoid doing them. Which brings me to the final idea. The AI-powered social monitoring tool. Imagine this job, sitting at a computer 24/7, watching social media feeds, looking for mentions of a brand for hours and hours and hours. A social media manager can watch Twitter for 8 hours. Then they go home, and your brand crisis happens at 11 p.m. By the time they see it at 9 a.m., you're viral for the wrong reasons. That's the gap, the boring 16 hours when nobody's watching. That's where reputations die. And that's what you're selling. A dashboard showing mentions, a sentiment score, alert notifications. But that product prevents disasters. Why does this work? Because nobody wants to do the boring job of watching feeds all day. But everyone needs someone to do it. You're automating the most boring but necessary task and charging premium for that boredom. So there you have it. The 5 most boring AI-based SaaS ideas and the 5 most profitable. You came into this video probably looking for something different. The one that would get you on Product Hunt. The one that would impress your friends. That's exactly backwards. Because what we have here is low competition, high necessity, premium pricing, a sticky retention. Every one of these ideas can start with just Bubble and a GPT, maybe $50 in monthly costs, until you get paying customers. Now go get bored and get rich. Also hit subscribe and turn on that notification bell.